guys? Welcome to the channel. Adam here for Infinite Reviews, and today I'm going to be taking a look at a very awesome figure, one that I've been extremely anticipating. It is super cool. Why waste any time? Super 7 Ultimates. It's the Donatello from the 2003 cartoon, one of my favorites of all time. The solo production by Peter Laird, and man, I'm really pumped. Now, looking at it, I can already say it looks accessory light. So, well, let's take a look at the box before we get into this bad boy. Here's the box. Now, this is the new Super 7 style without that overlay. Clear window, you can see exactly what you're getting. I like the color burst behind the figure. Got that Ultimates logo, Super 7 there, and the ages 14 and up. Coming down, man, get this awesome piece of animated Donatello there. That looks freaking badass. The cool logo. This makes me just go, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Donatello, the fierce fixer with the bold bow staff. Now, looking in the window, like I said, you can see it's fairly accessory light. Not as much as we're used to seeing packed in there. It looks quite empty behind it. I do like the side profile. Got the city skyline there with the turtle shell kind of thing going on. On the back, a big ass piece of awesome art from that cartoon with another little headshot here. And basically the same thing it says on the front. You know, sometimes with Super 7, we would get that like a bio on the back here. I'm not too upset that that's missing. I think it looks just fine the way it is. Super 7 and Nickelodeon together there. On this side, it's more of the same. Got that turtle shell kind of thing going on here with the top of the city. We got that 2003 logo there on the top of the box, and on the bottom we get all that good legal stuff. But that's not what we're here for. We are here to tear into this guy. Let's do it. And there is Donatello out of the package. Let's bring in the tape measure. He is right at, I would say, 5.5 inches tall. Something I can't wait to see with this line, this new line, is how they scale. That is something I'm very, very excited to see. Now, I've had him out for a little while because I had to get, my hands on him and get kind of used to him. And there are some issues here. I'm not gonna act like it's all peaches and cream. It's not all roses here. There are some flaws. There are some things that I wish were different, but I think overall I really like it. Let's start with the paint. So the paint is really nice. I hope the camera's picking this up, but it's got that nice, cool, like cell shading to it. You can see maybe better on the hand there. It has like a lighter green and then some dark green highlights, and it kind of fades around the body. Very cool. It does the same thing down the legs, on the back. On the sides here. Now the shell is one bright color. This is straight out of the animation. I think this is really cool because the other Super 7 line that I collect is the line based on those old action figures. So it's kind of cool to see this line be not based on the 2003 toys, but on the 2003 animation. So that is a big difference and not something that I thought of right out of the bat. Now, it does have some articulation, some new articulation, something Super 7 was kind of bragging about. So we'll take a look at that in just a second. I do believe overall, though, the look and feel of this figure is really nice. For instance, like this slot for carrying his bow staff is nice and rubbery, so you can slide it in there, no problem. Let's take a look at the articulation real quick, and then I'll go over some of the issues I have. Well, first things first, the head. I love the head sculpt. I think the head sculpt looks really nice. It has that nice, like, he's smiling look to it, but I think it sits a little low on the neck. Now, if you pop it off, you can see how it's all done here. We've got so we have the dumbbell here in the top of the neck, and then the bottom of the neck itself also moves. So you can spin it around to kind of get like well, it spins that far, and it kind of gives it this, like, off to the side, but it's still, when the head snaps down, for me, now this is just for me, the head snaps down just a little too low. I would have liked it. I would have preferred it. Let's put that neck back where it goes. I would have preferred the head to sit more like that. Just a little bit higher. And that's just a personal thing. I don't know if that doesn't have anything to do with the animation or anything like that. That's just, I think that looks better. Could just be me. I don't know. You guys sound off in the comments. Let me know what you think. It does have a decent amount of range. As you can see there, moves all around. It does have that extra amount of articulation at the base of the neck, which is cool. He can look up that far, which, see, now these also move around, which the first time I pulled that out, it scared the shit out of me. I thought I was never gonna get it back in. He can look up that high, which is not much, but for a guy with a shell, you know, not bad. And he can look down that far, which is all right. I think you get side to side and all around, and then of course 360 degrees of rotation there. Coming down, we do have what I feel like are new shoulders. We'll take a look when we compare in just a little bit, but this shoulder comes up a pretty good amount. I think this is definitely an improvement. It's on a nice hinge there, as you can see, and a ball that spins all the way around. So you get the full spin in the shoulder, and then you also get full rotation at the bicep. Now coming down, this is cool. This is definitely new here. You get the two-part inner elbow. You've got the back part is hinged, and so is the lower part on the forearm. So you can get a lot of, well, I say a lot, oops. It's a lot more than previous releases. Now you can't get a full, you know, a full on just all the way up, but the sweatband does do a good job of kind of covering that up. I don't know if it's a lot, but it is more. I think it is a nice addition to the figure to let him be able to do that. It does create a kind of weird cut there, but I don't really care. I mean, it looks good to me. It looks fine. Also, there is a swivel here at the forearm, and if you're not careful, because I've had this happen, you can get this in the wrong spot where it doesn't want to articulate. So you can see it clearly has a front and a back. So you just have to make sure you've got them in the right spot when you do bend them. Coming down to the wrist, you got that awesome wristband, and then of course the wrists are on 360 degrees. These gripping hands they go up, they have the, well, let's just take it out. They have the up and down articulation because they are weapon wielding hands, which I think that's pretty much required on any kind of figure that's going to be holding a weapon. I really like that. Coming down, now of course there's no crunch joint, as there wouldn't be. And there is not, I think there's room. They could have put a butterfly in there for him to reach further ahead, but I also think that is quite a bit. I love a figure that can reach across the body. Now that's almost all the way, so I'm pretty happy with that. There is no crunch because, man, I think the less you mess with the turtle shell, the better. They need to be solid like this. This is a nice, soft, pliable kind of plastic, so it has a really nice feel to it and kind of gets out of the way when you're moving around. He does have a lower joint that does allow some movement. I'm sure it's a ball joint. I have not pulled it apart because I'm not that brave. I've never had a serious break on a Super 7 figure, but I have had them get really, really loose. So I try to avoid that, but you can see there is a nice amount of movement in there, and you can see underneath the shell kind of, if I can get the light in there, I don't know. So you get that side to side movement, and then coming down, you can see the legs, and they go out all the way, which is badass. They go out all the way, better than some Spider-Men that I've seen. All the way out there for some badass ninja kicking action. You can see the pin and the hinge there to give it all of this action. You can go forward that far, which is really far forward. And of course, it's a turtle. I don't expect a lot of back that far, and then out like that, which is really nice. Also has a thigh swivel right there at that ball. Coming down, same thing for the knees as the elbows. They do have the two spots there where they articulate to give him quite a bit of range. I mean, that is a pretty decent amount right there for a turtle figure. Probably one of the best that I've ever seen, to be honest with you. And I love that there's no pins. All the joints are well hidden by the bands. Now, well, I'll get to this in just a minute, but yeah, I think it's overall really nicely done. And there's some more of that paint detailing I was talking about. It just looks great. Coming down the leg, we do have what's called a calf cut there, a calf swivel. You can see on the bottom side of that joint there, which is really nice. Coming down, we get the ankle, and it's really tight, but it does have back and forth rocker. And then of course it has a forward facing pin to give it that amount of swivel action. So articulation, very, very nicely articulated for a Super 7 figure. However, let me just say, I am having some issues that over time have presented themselves, and that is with the cheap, it feels cheap. Well, it doesn't feel cheap in your hands, but when you start seeing it, you start seeing lines forming. Every time you flex it, it seems to get worse and worse. You see these like cuts and things that are going on here. It just, there's just an amount of, you see these, it gets these lightness around it when it gets stretched and bent and turned. And I realize it's not a toy, so it's not for play, but all I've really done with him is kind of flex him and moved him around, and it's the same story all over. You get that kind of all around all these joints, you get lines and a scraping kind of thing going on. And honestly, for $54.99, I would rather not see that kind of thing. That's my biggest down, that and the head just being a little low for me. But overall, I mean, he's going to be posed on my shelf, so I'm not going to be moving him around too much more, so I can live with it. I just buyer beware that they do kind of form those stress lines in this plastic. So yeah, there's that. Let's take a look at his accessories. I do feel like for the price point, again, $54.99, this is very much on the light side. I get it. I know that they've had to lay some people off. I know that they're having some funding issues, but damn, I feel like this is really light. Basically, all we got here, we get two fists, which they do look nice. I'm not going to complain. They look really nice. They're nicely detailed. You can see the hinges there. They do hinge in and out like you would see on a normal figure. We get two open hands. They look, and these look really cool too. I'm going to show you in just a minute what I like about this open hand, scenario. I don't love them, but I do like their inclusion. It could have done with another set of hands, maybe some more Donatello-esque things. We do get the shell cell, which if you'll remember the show, like this gets used all the time. However, and let me just bring him in here. There's no way for Donatello to hold this. Here are the gripping hands that were included with the figure. They can't hold it. Of course, the fists can't hold it. And then of course, the open hands, can't hold it. I don't know exactly what, it seems arbitrary. There's nowhere for you to keep it on the figure. There's nothing really for you to do with it. It just seems, I don't know, just kind of like a needless pack-in. You do get these awesome goggles, and the goggles are great. And I've noticed after putting them on him, if you slide them under the sweatband and up, let's see, get them under there. Let me get this down. Then you can kind of drag them down over the eyes. Now they don't stay well, but that does look cool. Donnie was always welding on stuff like the battle shell, so maybe instead of this, they could have included some kind of like stinger for his welder or something like that. But I guess, well, I'm going to say it's okay. These do look nice. They have a nice little bit of detailing on them with the yellow, if you can see that there. They do look nice and buggy, and they do fit pretty decently, I have to say. So there is that. I just think, I don't know, it could have been better. Of course, we get the bow staff. The bow staff is really nicely done. I love the colored tape on the handles. That is something that always stood out to me about this show, is they went real deep with that. Like Leo's swords have the blue, Raph's sais have the red, Mikey's nunchucks they have the orange tape. I really think that's a really cool thing that really kind of helps it stand out against the others. It does have a nice wood type look to the casting there, and the tape looks really cool, and he does hold it really well. Sometimes I've had these where they don't hold very well, but this one does do a very good job of holding the bow staff. And then of course we get a variant head. This one kind of that like quizzical, almost angry look. I do like it. I do think I'm going to pop it on here real quick just to kind of give you guys a look at it. And there it is. If you didn't pop it all the way down, see, it's just a little more, I don't know, to me that little extra amount of space up just gives it a better vibe. But snap it down on there and see, it just seems like, and it seems like a turtle is what I was gonna say, like he's pushed down into his shoulders, but I don't know, it just seems a little low. I do love the sweatbands. The sweatbands are different, and you can absolutely pop them out and change them if you were so inclined. I like this one, and you can move them around so they could be posed different directions. One of my favorite things about this cartoon was that the sweatbands would always blow like in crazy, they'd be like super long and blown out, and it just looked really cool. Very, very anime influenced in this cartoon. Very cool stuff. And I would like to compare him with my other Super 7 Donnie, this one based on that old action figure. Now, you can see right off the bat, just a little bit of difference in size. I mean, obviously this one actually looks a little taller. Let's see here. Now, I do have the extra head on him. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, this one's closer to 6 inches, and this one is, you know, closer to 5.5. There's no way around it. That is the absolute case. Man, it's so hard to, well, you know what? We can compare the articulation, and opening up the elbows here, you can see what I'm talking about. There's that double joint. This Donnie clearly just has that single joint, and you know, there's as far as it can go, and this one can go so much further. The bow snaps are also completely different. Now, I do kind of wish that the one with the 2003 turtle would have been maybe built on this same, well, I guess you can see the difference in length. It's quite a bit, quite a large difference in length there. I just think this is a cooler looking sculpt to the classic one. Very nice wood sculpting going on there. And it would be cool just to have this one with this purple tape on it. Maybe though this Donnie's could be a little bit longer. I think the length on this one's better, and the actual sculpt on this one's better. So we got the same thing on the backs of the legs. As you can see, the single joints versus the double joints. The shells are much bigger on this guy. Look at that. Look how much deeper and larger the shell is for the 2003 counterpart. Very neat. Also, another thing is this one has the, I mean, it's obvious, but this one has the coloration of the toys, whereas this one has the coloration of the animation. So I do find this interesting that Super 7 does figures here and animation here. And then there he is with the actual 2003 turtle. I still have my Donnie. I have my whole set from 03. When I first saw this at a pizza place with my then girlfriend, now wife, I freaked out. Like, I was like, wait, you have to quit talking. We were on a date. I was like, hey, there's a new Turtles cartoon on. I sat down and watched this, and I immediately went out and bought these figures. You can see this is action figure to animation. This one's a little more classic. Has a little bit more of a classic vibe. Definitely has the classic coloration. Then we got NECA's 87 cartoon right here next to him. I think this is so awesome. It's so fun. I love collecting turtle figures, man. So that was the pose I was talking about. That I love when a figure can reach across his body, and this one having that kind of open hand and the fist. We can kind of get that martial arts pose there. That is badass. I really, really, really like that. I do wish you would have come with some kind of like maybe like a spinning bow attachment. You know how they kind of do with Mikey sometimes, where it'll have that one chuck spinning kind of molded in plastic. It would have been really cool to get Donnie like a spinning bow. You know, that would be awesome. I think I would have included something like that. But overall, I think this guy's a home run. I do like him. I mean, I'm definitely gonna collect the whole series because, well, I'm a goober and I want them all on my shelf. So basically, I don't know if you're like me or not. I think there's some things to not be happy with here. But overall, I think this is a nice sculpt. It's a nice figure. It's nicely done. If you're a Turtles fan, I think, especially 2003, you would get your money's worth. So there we go, guys. Thanks a lot. Thank you for tuning in. Please hit like, hit subscribe. All that kind of stuff helps the channel. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. That would be awesome. It would be great to do that this year. Follow us everywhere you can. Tune in for more awesome reviews. We're going to do all kinds of great stuff. Going to try to get our podcast going again, the Blitzkrieg Pop. And until then, though, you guys have a great week. Keep it geek. Peace out.